Welcome back. I thought I might give you a taste on more advanced melody tools. Now, you don't have to apply these in your four-part writing. I'm just throwing some seeds out there for you to explore and maybe have in the back of your mind, or maybe you want to start composing, more elaborate pieces. So melody, we just went through a whole bunch of suggestions, very common suggestions that you'll find in many, many theory books. Now, I'm going to talk about some more advanced concepts in writing melodies. You don't have to start on the tonic. If you're starting on a one chord, you could start from the tonic, the third, and the fifth. In fact, you don't even need to start on a chord tone. Some of the most beautiful moments in melodies come from dissonance, an emphasis on dissonance. Okay? This sense of dissonance and resolution, dissonance and resolution. I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, I'm starting on the third instead. This feels completely different than if I start on the tonic. If I start on tonic, there's a sense of settledness, of groundedness. But the moment I start on the third, it's more contemplative. Can you hear it? Right? So now I could explore, what does this melody want to do? It's always what I'm asking myself when I'm creating a melody or improvising a melody. So if I was improvising this, I'd say, what does this want to do? Maybe it's feeling hopeful. Okay? So I created a much longer kind of melody. I was kind of creating as I went through. You might have noticed there were moments where I used larger intervals. And I had multiple leaps in a row sometimes, see? So let's see if I remember the melody I just improvised. But we started with hope. We repeated that same idea. When you repeat something, it's familiar the second time. But I went higher. Notice that leap. I went from C, A, D, D. So at two leaps, I went up a sixth, I went down a fifth. But the key is, I went in opposite directions. So you can do two leaps in a row, but you want to generally go in the opposite direction. And it really worked here, I think. Going from the one chord to the subdominant, and then I used a suspension, and then I actually used secondary dominant. I don't remember what I did, but this would work. I think this was pretty close. Okay. And that could be a really beautiful melody, right? And then we will repeat the melody maybe. That's a plagal cadence. 4-1. We'll talk about cadences in detail. Secondary dominant. I'm changing it a little bit, but that's what we do. Right? And I used a little dissonance. Did you notice that? That G is dissonant actually. Resolves to the F. I did the same thing here. The E is dissonant to the G chord. You see? Let me show you what this might look like on staff paper. Maybe not the same melody, but some of the techniques that I was employing to create that tension and resolution in that improvised example. So let's say, for example, I'll stay again with C major just for simplicity's sake. Maybe I'll start from that E. E, F, E. This is what I did. C, F, E. That in itself is not a complete melody. It's what we call a motif, or a small portion of a theme. It's a thematic element. I repeated it. Like that. So that's actually what I did. Right? You might notice that this is an anticipation here, a non-chord tone. So you can use non-chord tones. This might be a neighbor tone. Excuse me, it might be a neighbor tone. You see? So you can use these kind of tools and melody to create these moments of tension. Right. So I could do something very simple like this. I might go, let's change the key just for interest. I might do something like this, where the E flat is a non-chord tone, and in this case it would be a leap followed by a step. So what is that? An appoggiatura. Okay. Let's see what this sounds like. So let's say that I'm in G minor. I'm just creating a pattern. Okay. So you can already hear that this is going to work, right? Now, why is that? It's working because my pattern is simple enough, my motif, my little thematic element is simple enough for an audience to understand, but it also has something that makes it interesting. In this case, it's the appoggiatura, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do something random following it. I might like the idea. I might say, this is a pretty cool motif. What can I do to elaborate on this? How can I take it further? And what I decided to do in this case is I said, let me go even higher. Okay, where both notes are dissonant. So listen again. And that could be a melody right there, right? So I did have a high point, which came here. This is what I did. I actually used an E natural. That's what I did here. Lots of leaps, right? I used lots of leaps, but I still found a way to make it work. Why does it work? Well, if you take a look, the top notes here are linear. They're stepping down by step. Also, I have consistent lower notes in the melody here, which makes it easier to track. It's like a two-part texture at that point. Okay, so let's take this melody, let's take this motif, and I'll just keep exploring, and maybe tell you a bit of what I'm doing, pay attention to the top note, maybe what my right hand is doing. Don't worry so much about my left hand. And I'm just improvising this. So I might change. Okay? So of course I'm doing a lot of other things, right? But if you're just listening to the melody, you maybe can get some clues. You know, mainly I'm listening for the potential of the sound. I'm saying, what can it do? And I did a few different things there playing with it. I even threw in some chromatics. Did you hear the chromatics? Where I did this, but you could. Just like that. The chromatics work. Why? Because they work just like passing tones or neighbor tones. They can still resolve to chord tones. Maybe we can create a completely different melody just for fun. Maybe one more for this video. Let's see. Let's try something else. A popular scale is the pentatonic scale. Pentatonic scale. And a lot of the greatest melodies in the world are based off of the pentatonic scale. So what is the pentatonic scale? I might do a full video dedicated to pentatonic scale. It just means a 5-note scale. That's all it is, a 5-note scale. Now, if you were to play just the black keys on the piano, you would end up with a pentatonic scale. That's all it is. Just, 5 notes in a scale. So a basic pentatonic scale, let's say if we were doing a C major pentatonic scale, you would have this. C, D, E, G, A. Just those 5 notes. Notice it's the first scale degree, the second, the third, the fifth, and the sixth, and we omit the 4th and 7th scale degrees. We omit the 4th and 7th scale degrees. Now, it doesn't mean you can't use them. It just means you use them sparingly. And by omitting them and just using them once in a while, you create a melody that's inspired by the pentatonic scale. Now, why does the pentatonic scale work so well? It's because all 5 of these notes harmonize well with each other. They're consonant with each other. Let me show you what I mean. So if I play just the black keys on the piano, which is also a pentatonic scale, it almost sounds like a wind chime effect, right? All the notes still work with each other, so it's still a really nice sound. So, take a listen. I'm going to create a melody just using these 5 notes, C, D, E, G, A. Okay? Okay? And I just improvised that. It sounds to me to be, maybe Oriental in nature. It could be Native American. It could be a lot of different things, right? I could begin to harmonize that. going to add the 7th. Okay. So there you have it. Pretty cool, right? So that's the pentatonic scale. So hopefully this gives you a few more tools to explore in your creation of melodies. There are so many other things we could do, but this video is already 16 minutes long, so I'm going to go ahead and close this off, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.